أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد إمام الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may the best of peace and blessings be on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the leader of all the prophets and the best of all humanity. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His peace and blessings on our Prophet, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gather us all with him in the Jannah. Ameen. Tonight, inshallah, I will be talking about the أثر التربية على الشباب المسلم, the effects of tarbiyah for bringing up on the Muslim youth, how to bring up the Muslim youth and focus on certain areas, and in return that should be also affecting us in a positive way, because if we are able to bring up a generation, a positive generation, a good generation, that like the Prophet ﷺ did with the first generation, then we should be starting with our own selves. The matter of fact is that Islam was established not by angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not force it on people, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this religion to one man, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or Prophet Muhammad. Obviously not talking about Islam as the mission of all prophets, but it's the same thing. It all came to one person, and then this person will take care of a group around him, and then this group will carry the mission further beyond this small circle. Focusing on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and on Islam, you see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was the only person, one person by himself, carrying the mission that is the salvation for humanity, the guidance for humanity, the light for humanity, the good way or the right way for humanity, for al-alameen to go by. But how did he do it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? He didn't do it himself from A to Z. Actually, he died, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he passed away. He passed away, and Islam was not anywhere beyond Arabia. Even not the entire Arabia was fully Muslim. And he received the ayah in the Quran, "We haven't sent you except as a mercy for all the world." He receives the mission, and he knows that this mission is for everybody. Yet he passed away, his term, his life span is finished, while Islam was not passed anywhere beyond Arabia. And as we said, even Arabia, it was not entirely Muslim when he passed away, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But he built and he established the essence, or he established the generation that will carry it further beyond. You see it a few decades after his movement to the other world. You see Islam is reaching everywhere, mainly because of the effect of the tarbiyah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he invested in this generation of youth, of people around him that were able to just fill in his shoes, just like act as many copies of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How did he do it? Actually, we see that any successful nation, regardless of being Muslim or regardless of religion, any successful nation, you will see some kind of investment in individuals. They will focus on the individual, how to build the value system, how to build, investing in the individual will be such an important factor of making this civilization. And on the other hand, you see the backward nation, usually a human being for them, an individual for them is nothing. Actually, masses of people are nothing for them. So this is a rule, a universal rule, that it is important. We have to know that it is important in order for the bigger perspective, the ummah, the nation, the Muslims, and the world at large, to be successful and to be good at some kind of well-being. Then we have to start from the very individual. We have to start from the very person, the very human thing, the very human values. It started with Prophet ﷺ, for example, and then it spreads to everywhere around him. It started with Prophet Isa ﷺ, and then it spreads everywhere around him. And such with even with the reformists, people who are about reform, and somebody about an idea, about a theory or something, started with this person, and then it takes a lot of faith and of work to move forward. You see how Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam set up this ummah, how he raised this youth and this group of people. One of them is Umar ibn al-Khattab, when he was the Khalifa and he was sitting in a session with his friends, the companions, other companions, and everybody was asking, what do you think, what is your wish? Can everybody make a wish? So they are trying to probe and see what is the wish of everybody. Someone would say, I hope I have a house like this full of gold, so I will spend it left and right for the sake of Allah. I want to establish the religion of Allah, and this person thinks it's most important thing for him is finances and money and everything. So if he said, if I have all of this gold, all of this money, I think I can do so many good things for Islam. Good. But Umar is thinking about something else. So he asked someone else, what is your wish? Someone else would say, I hope this, I hope that. Everybody's making a wish. All of these are maybe good wishes. But Umar said, you know what is my wish? My wish is, I hope that I would have a house like this or even bigger than this, full of people like Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, like this very individual. He has so much respect of this individual, and he knew that this person, Abu Ubaidah, another friend of the Prophet, companion, Sahabi, was really a leader, a good person, that he could lead to so many good things. So his wish was, I hope that we have as many good people as Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. He said, Mu'adh ibn Jabal wa Salim Mawla Abi Hudayfa wa Hudayfa ibn al-Yaman. I hope to see, as many people as those few leaders of this, of that kind of people. And this is a hadith which is authentic. And subhanAllah, we see it in our communities. Some people that definitely in every Muslim there is goodness, and every Muslim is there is something good. And actually every individual, any human being, he is a potential believer. There is something good if only we can find this good thing. But we see it in our communities, that you see, subhanAllah, in any community, some people, a few people that might not even be known, but really if you have such a bigger number of those people, they will make all the difference. And such people will make the difference in the life of communities. They will make all the difference in the life of nations. Such people who will be leaders, who will be examples for others. And such people will always lead any calls or any invitations for reform, for so many good things, because they are about goodness. They are about combating corruption in a way or another. So it's so much important for us to invest in the individual. And maybe all of us, if not majority of us, if not all of us, will have children. This is such an opportunity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this opportunity to invest in another generation, to be able to bring up, from the scratch, baby, and then a young person, and then he grows up, this person or this few people be like Umar and Uthman and all of these Sahaba that turned to be leaders, and up until nowadays we still remember them and we still thinking very high of them because of their achievements. If you see the Prophet ﷺ, how did he invest in them? We will just focus on 3 points, 3 main points that we see them coming all over, that he used ﷺ. Number one thing, he used to direct the good fitrah, the good instinct of those people, the good initial disposition. Everybody has something good, has tendency towards something in him or in her. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was very smart in finding this good thing in every person and then directing him this way. Not everybody will be the same, but you should never fail to find something good about this person. If you find this good thing in this person and then direct it the right way, buff it, make it clear, invest in it, enhance it, that will make all the difference in the life of this person. Allah created us different. Somebody is about strength and power, and another person is about emotion and arts and fine things. A third person is about something else. A third. So everybody has something in there. You see, Umar radiallahu anhu was such a and after Islam, but he was before Islam that young, strong youth who is all about, you know, strength and power and everything. After Islam, the Prophet ﷺ invested in this direction. His fitrah is, he is about, you know, this strength. He would direct him towards this way. From day one, he was like all the Muslims at the beginning. They were, you know, hiding because it was a lot of persecution back then at the beginning of the da'wah. So they were hiding in the house of one of them, Al-Arqam, and they would, you know, learn from the Prophet some Quran. He would teach them the essence and the basic things of Islam. But Umar accepted Islam, and when he accepted Islam, his fitrah, his instinct, what he is about is that, no, I'm not that kind of person. Ya Rasulullah, why do we hide? No, we're not going to hide anymore. I don't think it's right for us. Let's go out there. We believe it's the truth. And he did it. The Prophet ﷺ accepted it, and he led one of the two lines, Al-Hamza, led another line, and they came out. Actually, even before leading the line, he wanted everybody to know he became Muslim. It's the other way around. Every Muslim is, you know, the other people are like hiding, you know. They know that they are going against the society. They are going against the Quraysh and the entire society. Doesn't care. He actually called this person by the name of Jamil ibn Ma'mar. He was known to be the Reuters news agencies for nowadays. If you tell him this person cannot, you know, hold any secret, he would go and tell everybody. That's his personality. So Umar told him, come on, let me tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody about it. And Umar was, you know, he was thinking how to let everybody know in Mecca, you know, at the cheapest cost somehow, at the lowest cost. It's not possible for him to go. That's not his personality to go and tell everybody, I become a Muslim. I am Muslim. So he thought, okay, let me call Jamil. In half an hour, all Mecca should know about that. He told him, let me tell you a secret, and this was the flavor or the spices that he was adding, but don't tell anybody. I become a Muslim. And he left right away. Ya Ahl Mecca, oh people of Mecca, do you know what? Umar, Saba'a Umar. Umar like become a disbeliever. And Umar was following him. He said, no, I'm not a disbeliever. I become a true believer now. And everybody, you know, was coming to Umar, and back then the society was about physical power. They were trying to attack him, and he was defending himself back, and it took them like hours doing that. So this was his fitrah, this was his direction. When he came to Islam, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would not tell him, you go and pray and be good, kind person. Yes, good, kind and everything, but he would direct him the way he is. He likes that. He was as strong and even more courageous after Islam, but he was kind of tahdeeb, kind of, you know, directed the right way. You see him after becoming a Khalifa, subhanallah, even though he was such a strong person, he would, such a strong even with himself, with holding himself accountable. Like one day, he asked the mu'adhin, a way of making an announcement, a general assembly or something, and he was calling everybody, and he got to the member and he said, Ayyuhan nas, O people, لقد رأيتني وأنا أرعى غنيمات. You know, once I was in my life, I was a shepherd, على قبضات من تمر, for a few days. I used to take care to work as a shepherd for the long day, and that was the price, or the wage was a few tamarat. And then he said, and then he came down from the minbar. That was his khutbah. And then Abu Ubaidah, the one he was talking about, he said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, this is the president, this is the leader." He said, "Is that, what is it that you mean? You just like dispraise yourself. You're collecting everybody and getting everybody to say, you didn't say anything, positive. You're getting us to say that thing." He said, "Wallahi, Abu Ubaidah, by Allah, I was just thinking for myself, like I'm the Khalifa and I'm the leader and in the top of Muslims, none is above me but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And then at this point, when I reached this point, I thought that I have to teach myself a lesson. This self that's trying to grow arrogant, no, he was trying to tell them, I was a little humble shepherd that was taking care of some little sheep or goats for some people for some days, one day. This is the Khalifa. He's saying, this is the Khalifa, that's who I am. Well, all the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, everybody has a special thing. Abu Ubaidah, the special thing about him, Prophet ﷺ called him Aminul Ummah, the trustee of this Ummah. And he would always appoint him as a leader or something. So Umar would, think of very highly of him, knowing him and being a friend of him. Obviously, the Sahaba, everybody is just having his own fitrah. Umar is strong, so he would invest in this direction. Uthman was he was a rich person and he was generous, so he would invest in another direction. Uthman, by his fitrah, by his instinct, was not as strong, so he was not the best fighter or something, but he was the best in another direction. So that's what we are saying, that everybody, we should find what, like our kids or our youth or in da'wah, the good things in the other people and try to highlight that. Like Umar radiallahu anhu, so he was very strong before Islam, and then after Islam, he's going the same direction but the right way, not misusing his power in a way or another. No. And Khalid ibn al-Walid, another example is Khalid ibn al-Walid, another strong person, leader, military leader before Islam and after Islam, never defeated in any military encounter or any battle that he was involved. And subhanallah, after that, after becoming a Muslim, he would say, the best, if I'm giving the choice, of spending a night with being a newly married person with a very beautiful young girl that I love so much, and then spend that night with her is not going to be better for me. I prefer better to spend a night with the immigrants, with the muhajirin, fighting for the cause of Allah, jihad fi sabilillah. So that was his mentality, his direction. So that's the first point. The first point, that we really need to direct the fitrah, direct the instinct, direct what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set in this person, direct it the right way for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second point is trying to find, actually that should be the first one, trying to find the positive points of the people, or the positive fitrah, the positive instinct, because every single person of us, we have the good sides and the less good or the bad sides. So if we can find those good things in people, that will make all the difference. So Umar himself, coming back to the example of Umar, before becoming a Muslim very early, because he accepted Islam later, a few years after Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started calling for Islam. So one day, the early Muslims, we know that they had more than one hijrah. The most famous hijrah or migration was to Medina, but before that, they migrated twice to Al-Habasha or Abyssinia, Ethiopia and Eritrea nowadays, this eastern part of Africa. Some of them, a few of them, migrated twice to this place because there was a just ruler in there. So in one of those, one incident, as one of the ladies with her husband, Muslim ladies with her husband, they were leaving Mecca, sneaking from Mecca and leaving their hometown and going out to Al-Habasha. And Umar was non-Muslim, back then, and he was one of the biggest fighters against Islam, one of the biggest foes against Islam. And he met them. He was in his way, probably back to Mecca, and they were coming out almost at the borders of Mecca. He said, "Why are you leaving?" And she told him, you are persecuting us, you and your people, giving us all of this persecution for nothing. You are harming us. So we are trying to find another way that we can freely worship our God, and so on. She started talking to him. فَرَقَّ لَهَا عُمَرْ. Umar felt some kind, he was kind of soft, or become his heart. He was affected by what she said. And she was amazed that she was talking and speaking to her husband. She said, "You know what? I was talking to Umar. Umar just met me right now, and he said, 'Where are you going?' And I talked to him, and for the first time I see this, something in Umar. That talk, Umar, he felt, I thought he felt sorry for us somehow." Her husband was kind of smiling, and he said, "Do you think he will become a Muslim?" "No, by Allah, Umar will never become a Muslim until his donkey becomes a Muslim. If his donkey becomes a Muslim, he will become a Muslim." So that man didn't see this thing in Umar. Even before he has this fitra, which is madfuna. It's kind of very deeply buried inside the person, that you can, if you dig, you can find it. Sometimes it pops up, it shows itself up, like it showed itself in the case of Umar, in here in this story that we read it in the seerah, way before he became a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ discovered this, and he invested in this, and he highlighted it, and it was a big asset for Islam. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, another companion, said, "Wallahi ma zilna a'izza mundu aslama Umar." By Allah, we started feeling this dignity and this honor and this power ever since Umar accepted Islam. From the day he accepted Islam, they were worshipping in secrecy. Then they become, in public, and Umar was there, Hamza was there. Nobody can touch them. Nobody can come close to them. So this is one of the examples. If only we can find this magic or magical point in ourselves, first of all, and then in our kids, or the people around us, and invest in it, that will make all the difference. Not necessarily us as individuals, but our schools or our masajid or our system in general. If we can find what every person is good at, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how do I say it, give everybody or bless everybody with something that makes him or her such a special person. Also, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Safiya, one of his wives, bint Huyay ibn Akhtab. She was the daughter of one of the leaders of Jews, and she accepted Islam. And they were trying to, as would happen probably between dara'ir, if a person is married to more than one lady, and you could imagine what kind of relationship will be between those ladies, even though they are ummahat al-mu'minin. So they were giving her a hard time, Hafsa and others. They were telling her, Yabnat al-Yahudi, you are the daughter of the Jewish. She is Muslim, but she is a daughter of a Jewish. So they were trying to call her these names, and she was crying, yes, I'm the daughter of a Yahudi, but what can I do? Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to her one day as she was crying, and he said, what, if they called you such names after that, tell them, well, my father, in Arabic, when you say my father, you refer to your direct father, or it involves also your grandfather or great grandfather, or any buddy in this lineage. So if they talk to you like this again, tell them my father is a prophet, because he is from the lineage of Musa alayhi salam, and my uncle is a prophet, Harun, the brother of Musa, and my husband is a prophet. So who are you to talk to me? And then they talked to her again. She said, yes, my father is a prophet, my uncle is a prophet, and my husband is a prophet. Can you please tell me who you are? Alas, they were not able to talk to her anymore. So sometimes, if you really try to find the positive thing or the good thing, even within the insult, even within, this is just an example. within the worst of situation or the worst of people, you could always find, you know, the good thing that could turn the situation completely upside down. So the same word that was used, misused by them as an insult for her, the same word could be the same meaning in the word. If you just try to find or think deeply through it, you could find that it is actually a praise, not a dispraise for you. So if we can find the positive things or the positive direction or the positive tendency in the generation, being our kids, being people around us, that will definitely make all the difference. That's strategy number 2. Strategy number 3 is to focus not on one thing, but to give so many options of open so many ways of goodness for the human being, for the person. Because again, Islam is not only about, you know, spirituality, is not only about this life, it's not only about akhirah, it's actually about everything. And the doors, Islam opens so many wide gates for everybody to get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Khalid ibn Walid would get to Allah from a direction that's probably different from the direction of Umar radiallahu anhu, different from the direction of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. This lady or this girl or this imam or this scientist, everybody can get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, it's within the same highway, but everybody may have his own or her own lane. So we have so many ways. We need to discover again what we are good at, and we need to give so many options for people. You see, we have a salah or prayer, even ibadah, talking about the acts of worship. It's not only one thing that you do in Islam. You can do ibadat in so many forms, acts of worship in so many forms, by the tongue, through saying azkar, reading Quran, talking good about others, making dua for others, so many good things, talk good, even talking good, or by the body through prayer, or going to Hajj, or so many other, you know, ways to make ibadat in Islam. Actually helping others is an act of ibadah. Lending others. Anyway, anything that we read in Quran, if we try to achieve it in a good faith and in the right way, is an act of ibadah. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would say, whoever spends double of anything, he will be called from the gates of Al-Jannah, and whoever is from the people of Salah, like he or she is good at Salah, they will be called from the door of Salah. Good at Sadaqah, they will be called from the door of Sadaqah. Good at Jihad, they will be called from the door of Jihad. Siyam, called from the door of Ar-Rayyan. So he is kind of opening and giving so many options. We have not only one gate for Al-Jannah, but more than one gate for Al-Jannah. Actually, we have 8 different gates of Al-Jannah. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, this encyclopedic person, he would say, Ya Rasulullah, anybody could be called from all of these doors? He said, yes, and I think you are one of them. You are one of them. He was such a marvelous example by himself, Abu Bakr, the best person after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Seeing the example or looking at the various examples in the community of the Sahaba, you see so, yes. Point 3 was to give so many options. Like sometimes when we are bringing up our kids, we might, it's not narrow-mindedness or anything, but we think the best thing is for them to learn Quran, and we direct them to teach them Quran. It is good, but you might open for them this way. Get them involved in da'wah. Let them do this. Open so many ways for them. So you never know. You think they will be the best as da'iyah or as a sheikh, but they might be better as a scientist, which will be also good. So open so many gates for them. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would open all of these gates. Khalid ibn Walid, good at jihad, he will use him in this direction. Another person is good at ilm and seeking knowledge, fine. A third person will be always making fun and playing and stuff. What can you do? That's his way of life. A third, it's you see in the society around the Prophet, just like any other society, various people, and everybody is happy, and everybody has living his own life, because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is opening all of these doors for them, trying to extract the hidden goodness and the positive sides in every person of them. So that's what we're trying to do. Open so many doors, and you never know where the goodness will be coming from. Looking at other examples from the Sahaba, you see Mus'ab ibn Umayr. We really need to read about those people to discover the beauty of Islam and the beauty of the Prophet ﷺ and the beauty of his generation. One person he sent to Al-Madinah, but that person was, an effort was invested in him, radiallahu anhu. And he was such a special person that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he sent him to Medina before migration, because the people of Medina came a couple of years before the migration and told the Prophet, well, we are ready to host you, just come, you and your people and everything. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not receive the permission then. But he sent some of his friends, companions. The first of them was Mus'ab ibn Umayr, and he sent him to pave the way for him. He did such a good job that by the time the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina, almost everybody in Medina was a Muslim. Majority, almost every house in Medina, it has some Muslimun in there. Nabi ﷺ, it's not, sometimes we tend to judge by quantity. It's not by quantity, but it's by quality. Like the Prophet ﷺ has been working in Mecca for so long, by this time for 13 years. And if you see how many people who accepted Islam, not as many as the people that Mus'ab ibn Umayr, when he worked with the people of Medina, he found. It's not to say that this is a failure and this is a success, no, because actually Mus'ab was one person who was brought up by the Prophet ﷺ, and the people were much different. The environment in Medina, they were really ready to accept Islam. Majority of them. So this was one example in there. He came all the way he came from a very rich family. He would, his clothes was the most expensive. He would use and wear the best of perfumes and colognes and so much so that when he passed from one street, everybody, even though they came after, they would know that Mus'ab passed from here because of the fragrance that he used. But then after that, when he accepted Islam, his mother prevented everything from him. He was such, a teenager in our time. He was, subhanallah, dressing the worst, and to come from the extreme to the other extreme, he managed to do that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So much so that when he passed away in Ghazwat Uhud, they found no coffin for him to shroud him. There was nothing. He doesn't have anything but a piece of cloth that it was short. If they cover his head, his foot is uncovered. If they cover his foot, his head is uncovered. He came all the way from that direction from that extreme to that extreme for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was that da'iyah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another example is Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he was such a very young in the life of the Prophet ﷺ. He was barely, probably not an adult yet when the Prophet ﷺ passed away, but Nabi ﷺ described him, to be one of the really big scholars and habr min al-ahbar, or he made dua for him, or Allah gave him the understanding, and he was really called Tarjuman al-Quran, or the translator, the one who explains the Quran. He has such a big knowledge, even though he was so young. And everybody, and later, people who came later, they would ask him questions, and he would, answer them. He got all the knowledge of the Prophet ﷺ, or he got a lot of knowledge from him ﷺ. That was because of what was invested in him, radiallahu anhu. So many other examples. If we read the seerah of the Sahaba, how did they spread Islam and went everywhere to spread the message of Islam, and the effect of the tarbiyah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was so clear on them. I just wanted to focus on these strategies of trying to find goodness in others, and then direct it the right way, and then open so many ways of goodness for them. That could work with new Muslims, dealing with new Muslims. That could work with us dealing with our kids. SubhanAllah, when somebody comes, for example, and accepts Islam, it really depends on who will mentor him, if you wish, that they will make them focus only in one direction. If you give him to this sister or this brother, only they will probably highlight something in Islam that it is highlighted for them. We need to open more ways for them. We need to, give them Islam for what it is. And then what I, chose to highlight in Islam may not be the same choice of that person. And it's clearer with our kids, because many times we think of our kids as really our position. This is mine. You have to just exactly do the way I did, or look at things and judge things and adopt things the way I did. But it's not right. You are investing in a new, plant that could probably be like you or be something else, because no one of us is a perfect example. We got something good in ourselves. We got other sides. We let us invest in them in such a way that they will be better than us. They will be even more comprehensive about goodness. That will never happen until we open new and ways of goodness for them. By this we come to the end, inshallah. If you have any comment or any question or anything to add, feel free to do that.